We're back with the Memo. It's Richard Lyons, Matt Brodsky, Alex Masados, same people as always. At the time of recording, it is Wednesday, November 21st, by the day before Thanksgiving. By the time you all hear this, it'll be past Thanksgiving, so we hope you all had a great holiday. We got the same segments coming back as last week, so we got the Scrap Heap and we got Stamp or Shred, and we finally got the Stamp and the Shred. So now everything's in full gear. We're going to start it off with the Stamp or Shred. Start it off hot.
Alrighty.
And
again, this is our little, buy or sell segment here. We'll switch it up.
Can you see the shredder in the shot?
Yeah, no, it's
Nice paper shredder.
Nice paper shredder. This is our stamp.
oh no, it's like man, we'll put it a little bit more. Yeah. No,
All right, let's jump right into it.
Jump right into it.
Hot topic of the week. Bill, do you want a mic?
I actually have the memo.
The hot topic of the week after that Monday night game was, that completely dominated the storyline. What a game it was.
It was the best flag football game I've ever seen.
That's one way of describing it. So the first topic or the first statement we're going to start with is the new NFL defensive rule changes are making today's game a better product on the field. Obviously, it could go both ways. Whether you like high-scoring offenses, whether you like a nice defensive matchup, or just in general if you like people making tackles. But who wants to start it off?
I think we should start it off with some positivity. So
This one's hard for me because I don't really like the rule changes, especially the one with the driving your weight into the quarterback. I think that one's ridiculous, and I think there's been some really ridiculous calls this season in regards to that rule. But I really enjoyed watching that game the other night. So it definitely was very entertaining. I thought you might not be able to say it was great football. We've heard a lot of people saying that, but I want to be entertained. That's really the end of it. But in terms of all the defensive rule changes, I'm gonna have to shred that. I don't think it makes a better product. I think it makes the life of all the defensive players so much harder. And now these guys, not only are they not able to hit people like they were able to in the past, but they're getting fined for it and ejected, suspended, whatever it is. They can't play the game of football they were raised to play and learn how to play their whole lives. So that's one that would be why I would shred it. But it still gave us that awesome game, and it still allows for these crazy offensive plays and these dynamite offenses. So it's hard to really say, but I overall I think the rules have created more bad situations than good ones. So this shredder better work, Alex.
The first shred.
Wait, I want to stamp it.
Interesting. All right, well, I'm going to go right ahead. I'm going to take this ink right here, this stamp, and I will stamp this statement. I agree with you to an extent to when you talk about the NFL rule changes harming, obviously, the defenders, making it a lot difficult for them. But if you watching that game, I haven't seen a football game like that in my entire life. It was just every single play, something was happening. You couldn't take your eyes off the TV. And it's happened before. It's happened to an extent this year. You saw Rams Saints was almost just as good. Rams Vikings earlier on in the season was an entertaining shootout. Sure, it makes life difficult for defenders, but at the end of the day, we want to be entertained. We want to see these skill position players doing what they do best, running around, making crazy plays. Tyreek Hill just burning people straight down the field. So
cost them the game.
Well, that's a different conversation. But at the end of the day, we've all seen, look at last week, Falcons, Cowboys, field goals back and forth, defensive game, that's boring. Okay, you don't want, nobody wants to just sit and watch that kind of game. If it's in the playoffs and it's a nice defensive game where there's a lot at stake, you can get behind that, but I'll take a shootout 10 times out of 10. Just the best players in the world on the field doing what they do best. I'm all for that.
Do you think that we'll never really see a defense like the Seahawks in what was that 2012, 2013, or the Broncos a few years ago. Like, do you think the days of those really dominant defenses are gone because of the way the rules are really going?
I don't think so, and this kind of goes into my point. Let me start by saying that game was phenomenal. That was one of the most entertaining games I've ever watched. That being said, it's not something I want to see every week. You know, if I'm gonna see a shootout like if I want to see a shootout like that every week, I'm gonna watch college football because that's what happens. In high scoring games, like the defensive players are not as they're as talented, but it's harder to put together a good defense in college. But I think there's a difference between a good defensive game and that Falcons Cowboys game you were talking about. That game was boring. Like there weren't plays being made all over the field, but there are good defensive battles that are super entertaining where guys are making big tackles, big plays that get the crowd involved and get the fans involved.
There were 2 strip sacks, picks.
Yeah, but it was like
They're
the
opportunities.
defensive plays were like as a result of like the few offensive mistakes. It wasn't like oh my god, like what a tackle, like what a play that guy made on the ball. Like that Marcus Peters interception fell right into his lap.
Yeah. Of course. But the Donald's forced fumbles were all him just being a beast.
And I think that's a testament to how good Donald is.
Yeah.
And in a 54-51 game, he was making his presence felt.
Right.
As crazy as that seems.
But
sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
But
just don't ever let it happen again.
I'm sorry, man. So I'm going to shred this. I don't think it makes it a better product. That being said, the game was entertaining, and I don't want to shit on the game at all. Like I very much enjoyed watching it.
So you said you don't want to see it every week. It definitely doesn't happen every week. It's week 11. It's the first time that we've seen a game like this. And at the end of the day, like, sure, it's harder for defenses to make plays. There's still a way to make a proper tackle. Like, let's not act like it's impossible for them to make stops.
No, it's not. It just seems – I actually heard this I forget who it was on sports radio talking about it. It's almost like they don't care about the yards. They're just like, they're like how you want to make a big play on offense. They're like, we'll rely on that one big play, a strip sack for a touchdown, a pick, whatever. They're like, we're waiting for these big plays.
Opportunistic plays.
Yeah, instead of really playing solid, sound defense. That's just the type of teams they are, like the Rams. They're just like explosion on both sides of the ball. Let's make a big play. Get it to our offense, whatever.
And that's what I mean, I'm fine with that too because that's entertaining. Mm-hmm. Like when you the bend but don't break defense that you're kind of alluding to, that makes for a good game to watch. And instead of just 2 stagnant offenses, and also let's not like just downplay the fact that those are the 2 most talented rosters in the league on offense. So at some point, they've been doing this to every team. They just happen to do it to each other this week. Like it's a rare feat that it's like very rare to see a game like that. So I think overall these rule changes are just for the better, just to make the game safer and kind of just keep these guys in check, like make sure that the game's running smoothly.
I was actually going to get into that. So all these rule changes just happened. So all these players who have been in the league for however many years, playing football their whole lives, of course, they have been playing the violent way for their entire lives. So I don't think I'm shredding this because I don't think it makes the game a better product, but I think it will go back to that. Like, I don't think this is going to be commonplace. Once players are coming into the league that have been, they know that these rule changes are in place. They're practicing to make proper tackles, stop leading with their head, whatever. The level of play of the defense is gonna get better.
Yeah, it's a grace period.
Right. Exactly. It's a grace period, and players they're gonna learn, and this isn't gonna happen all the time. The game was good.
Not gonna happen all the time because if you really think about it, there's only those 2 teams and one, maybe 2 others that can really do that. Besides those 2 teams, the Saints obviously can put up numbers like that, and on a good week, the Steelers. But the Steelers, they dropped 52 on the Panthers, and then they have to climb back against the fucking Jaguars.
And also, I just want to say that all these players complaining about the rule changes, and they're the same players that complain about not being protected, or like what the fuck do you want the NFL to do? Like, these players are suing the league over concussions, things like that. They're trying to make the game safer for you.
Yeah.
And you're just giving them shit. There's nothing. I don't see what the happy medium is there. Well, So I will
Right.
stamp it. Put some respect on this statement. They are.
We're having open tryouts for a third spot.
This is ultimately for the better for football as a whole. I believe that.
All right. Move on to the next statement. And we'll bring up a team that we just talked about.
Kind of similar topic.
Yeah. The Kansas City Chiefs defense will cost them a trip to the Super Bowl. Look at that beautiful handwriting from Mr. Masados.
Yeah.
Boom.
What do you
We
guys
had
think?
printer.
Yes. Continue.
All right. Well, clearly you want to start it off with how eager
Oh, you were
are.
mentioning the printer problems?
Yeah, I was mentioning the printer problems, but Alex's handwriting is pretty beautiful, so
It does look
it
good.
might as well be printed, right?
Yeah, what would you guys do without me?
Probably have a better podcast.
Probably have some more views.
Yeah.
Anyway, anyway, the Kansas City Chiefs defense will cost them a trip to the Super Bowl. Yeah, I kind of just like using the stamp at this point, but this defense is just terrible. Like, week after week, they're getting carved up. And I want to say the difference between the Rams and the Chiefs defense, because I wouldn't say the same thing about the Rams as I'm saying here. To your point, like you said earlier, that they're those opportunistic defenses relying on the big play. The Chiefs don't even do that. They just get they don't rush the passer very well. They don't make plays in the secondary. They're kind of just relying on Mahomes to bail them out at week after week, and he's been doing that, which is great. But we saw Monday night that he is flawed as well. Like,
It's Mahomes and the offense.
Yeah, it's a perfect system they have on offense, but that defense is just completely hanging the offense out to dry. It's going to come back to bite them. I can't see them going and beating the Steelers and beating the Patriots and beating whoever they face in the NFC week after week with that defense. It's just there's no room for error on the Chiefs' offense, and that's going to hurt them.
I'm going to shred this, and I'm going to shred this because there's not a single team, and I mean team like one side of the ball, that's like the Chiefs' offense in the AFC. And we're talking about a trip to the Super Bowl here, not winning the Super Bowl. So the Chiefs want to play a shootout, and I don't think there's a team in the AFC that can shoot it out with the Chiefs. Yeah, there's teams with great coaching and teams with more experience than the Chiefs that are gonna game plan well for them. But these weapons that they have and this quarterback that they have, he's very good. And even though he made some mistakes down the stretch in the last game, there's no denying his talent. I don't think the Patriots can shoot it out with the Chiefs. I don't think the Steelers can shoot it out. I mean, well, the Patriots did shoot it out with the Chiefs.
They beat them, and so did the Steelers. The Steelers were, it was 42-37.
Yeah, but
And these are just veteran teams, more experienced teams that can actually make a stop on defense when they need to. So when it comes down to it,
it might be a recency thing because that game was absolutely bananas on Monday night. But whatever playoff game we get between Chiefs Patriots, Chiefs Steelers, Chiefs Chargers, even, it's going to be a shootout, and I don't think you can discount the Chiefs in any game that's a shootout. They can shoot it out with the best of them.
Are any of these AFC defenses that much better than the Rams? I mean, the Rams have underperformed, I think, compared to if you look at the roster on defense, they have so much talent, and they're just severely underperforming. And Wade Phillips is the defensive coordinator, so it's honestly really a surprise. But are there really any defenses in the AFC that can truly stop them? Like,
I like the Steelers' defense. You're never going to stop them, but it's going to come down to those timely plays.
But look at what they just did.
You have game changers
Like,
on the defense.
They lost, but they don't. They had 5 turnovers and they still put up 51.
Okay, well, they've been in 3 shootouts this year. They've lost 2 of them. They're only 2 losses. That's how they're going to lose games, not being able to stop anybody. You can't have that happen in the playoffs because then there's no next week. And if you have nobody on the team on defense who's going to step up and make that play, who can even name players on the Chiefs' defense?
Justin Houston.
Okay. How's he been this year?
Do they have
He's
D Ford?
old.
I don't know. But the point is the
So
fact
can
that
you
we're
name a
asking.
player on
No,
the
that
Chiefs
was the
defense?
point. I can't. So
I think-
nobody can. Eric Berry's not playing.
I'll give you the team who I think, outside of the Patriots, I'll give you the team who I think has a good enough defense to not stop the Chiefs but slow them down,
I know who you're gonna say.
and it's the Chargers.
Oh no.
Not
Houston.
the Jets?
Nah,
Wild
I was
card?
gonna say Houston's defense.
Houston defense, maybe it could slow them down, but
With the pass rushers they have, you saw what Donald did, man. Like if you
I
can hit Mahomes.
but you really think the Texans have a shot at beating the Chiefs in the playoffs?
No, but they're probably a defense that'll give
They're-
them a tough time.
They
mean-
definitely they do have the pieces on offense to explode like that. And they
The
do.
Texans?
Yeah.
Yes, they do. They have a good offense, but they're a team that I don't know. They play in the AFC South. Like they're not seeing that competition all year. I don't think come playoff times any of us are going to be picking the Chiefs over the Texans if that game happens.
The Texans over the Chiefs, you mean?
Yes, sorry.
But that's a defense that could cause them trouble, and that's an offense that again they won't be able to stop. It's going to come down to turnovers, making that play, and I don't see anyone on the Chiefs being able to do that. And it's going to come back to bite them. I really believe that.
Do
So
we?
I'm stamping this.
I don't see any defense giving the
Can
giving
we
the Chiefs trouble.
stamp and shred a shramp, if you will?
You can't do that.
No, that's against the rules.
All right, shred it, man.
Look, because here's the thing. I do agree with Alex.
So
but
they're going to win the Super Bowl?
that wasn't the question.
That wasn't the question.
But I know, but do you think that?
I don't think the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl
Why not?
because the Saints exist and the Rams exist.
Is that going to be 54-51?
No, because the Saints have a good defense.
Interesting. Is it better than the Steelers or the Texans or the Chargers?
But I don't think those teams can shoot it out with the Chiefs.
But
Fair
is there
enough.
any good enough defense that no one's slowing them down? It doesn't matter. It's
The
really
Texans,
just
I'm sorry, the Texans aren't slowing down the Chiefs.
no one's
gotta
no
take
one's
advantage
slowing
of
them down. It's
opportunity.
just will.
When
It's,
Watt
it's
puts
honestly just a
Mahomes in the
toss up.
dirt?
It's like a toss up with them. Their defense is so bad, but their offense will score at any time. And honestly, it's almost bad for the defense how good their offense is. They score so quickly. It's almost like your offense being terrible and bringing the defense
That
back
was-
on the field
that-
so
that-
quickly. Like
It's
it's
exactly what happened on Monday. It was the Rams driving to take the lead, and you were almost like, wow, I wish they took like
Yeah.
another 40 seconds off
dude,
the
it was
clock.
ridiculous.
And then fucking Tyreek Hill tried to play the hero and doesn't let that ball go out of the end zone. And I know he had a good game, but it was two punts that he returned from inside the
Well,
5-yard line.
Okay, so that if they were at the 25 instead of the 13, you don't think Mahomes was chucking the ball deep anyway? He threw a pick.
Yeah,
There was a difference of like 10 yards. That
Okay,
doesn't
maybe
really,
you don't-
didn't
maybe
make
you
that
don't-
much of a difference.
Maybe you don't need to throw it 40 yards on that
They
play.
did it from start to finish. That's their offense.
Okay, when you're down by 3 with a minute left, that 15 yards makes all the difference in the world.
I think the game plan would have been the same.
You're a punt return. That's what you're taught. Inside the 5-yard line with 3 players sprinting at you with unblocked, let the fucking ball go out of bounds.
I agree with that. He shouldn't have done it. I don't think that he cost.
And then
him
he-
the
and then
game.
he
I don't
runs
think
off
it
the
made
field
that much of a
smiling.
difference.
Runs off
I
the
just don't
field
think
laughing. Okay,
every-
you cost your team a shot at a win.
I don't see that. I don't agree with. I don't think he cost them a shot at a win. It was a dumb decision.
Every 2 plays that either team ran, they were on the opposite side of the field.
yeah,
already.
it felt like I said it.
It was
felt like
never.
the
It was
game-
like they were never in their own territory. They were
was
always
a-
going into like
the field was
opponent's
50
territory.
yards long.
Yeah, it was
It
crazy.
was crazy.
But
So that's what I'm saying. With or without that 10 yards, I don't think that was the difference in the game. If they had gotten to like the 40 or the 50, then maybe you can say that. But he threw a pick on the first play.
It wasn't the first play. And
Second or third, the first set of downs.
so
it's a game of inches. You made a bad play with a minute left in the game. You have to hold him accountable.
I never.
And then he runs off the field
Mahomes
laughing.
made a bad play also.
I never.
Yeah, he made
stamped
plenty of bad
or
plays.
shredded
I'm not
officially.
saying Mahomes is off the hook for this. 5 turnovers, and 6 touchdowns, but 5 turnovers.
I wouldn't.
All right, so I didn't stamp or shred yet. I was originally coming into this and thinking about it, I was going to shred, but thank you, Matt. I will now be stamping. I will now be
Classic
stamping.
phony Richard.
Yeah, I'll never agree with Alex. After last week when we agreed on everything, I will be stamping.
Oh, by the way.
And I'm going to go back to a point I made, I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago. And
That was an accident. Sorry.
okay, are you trying to tell me something?
Playing footsie over there.
Yeah, a little bit. So I said this
Jealous.
on either last week or 2 weeks ago,
Just barrier.
and I messed up as I was saying it, and it was when the Saints and the Rams played, and the Packers and the Patriots played, and the Saints and the Rams had like this great shootout, and it was a great game, and then the Packers and Patriots, it was like, a little slow. It was like 17-17 in the fourth, whatever. The Pats ran away with it. And what I said was, it was almost like Rodgers and Brady wouldn't let it get to that point of a shootout. It was like, hold the ball. I'm not letting this other guy get the ball and like score on my defense. So I think that will what I just said about the Chiefs and scoring so quickly and not letting their defense get a rest, that will ultimately be their downfall against these experienced guys like Brady, like Roethlisberger in the playoffs, where they're not going to try and come out and shoot out with you. They're going to get the ball, and they're going to move the ball downfield the way they want to, and they're going to keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands. They're going to make that defense tired, a defense that's already not good at all. And, I mean, I can't trust an Andy Reid coach team at this point after what we've seen them do. And I know Alex Smith was the quarterback all those years, and he's nothing special, obviously. And sorry about your leg, but
Sorry about your 3 legs.
yeah. I just still it'll come in the playoffs. It'll come down to coaching and discipline, and obviously experience. And the Steelers and the Patriots have consistent coaches, consistent quarterbacks, veterans in both spots who have been there before, and they're not going to let the Chiefs come in and just, dictate what's going to happen. They're going to dictate the game. They're not going to let the Chiefs. They're not these young, like, hungry teams that are like, let's go, let's score every goddamn play. Like, no, they're not like that. So
Keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands.
Yeah, exactly. Keep the ball out of his hands. So I'm gonna stamp that.
So you guys don't think the Chiefs will be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl?
No.
Just to top off this conversation about why the Chiefs defense is gonna fuck them over. What?
Top it off.
I'm gonna top it off right now.
Pause.
This is a stat that I found with the help of Mike Kornfeld. Numbers. Let me just preface this by saying Mahomes in games where he scored 40 points is 2 for 2 in his career. Other quarterbacks scoring 40 points.
mean
Tom
2 and
Brady, 2 and 2 in his career. 2 wins, 2 losses. Tom Brady when scoring 40 points, 40-0. Peyton Manning, 32-0. Steve Young, 19-0. Jim Kelly, 15-0. Phillip Rivers, 15-0. Rodgers, 17-1. Drew Brees, 37-1.
These are Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
These are Hall of Fame quarterbacks, of course, but that stat is not about the quarterback.
It's about
They're scoring 40 points. It's about the defense. Their teams are not giving up 40 points right back at them, and that's not a sustainable way to have a team. Like, it's just not balanced. It's going to come back to bite you if you're giving up 40 points that often, and it just shows
scoring 40 points pretty often too.
Sure, yeah, they're in a shootout every single week. It makes for an entertaining game. It's fun. It's exciting. Mahomes has ridiculous stats on the season, but if your defense is not going to hold up their end of the bargain, you're never going to go anywhere. I believe that, and I will stamp this statement.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a bunch of gibberish being spit. Nice.
You stamped it with me.
Good. That's fun.
I agree with Richard.
Yeah. I didn't hear anything. Just a bunch of nonsense.
Kid's talking out of his ass.
Was that not a golden stat?
Kid's bringing up Jim Kelly.
That's funny.
Didn't he go to 4 Super Bowls in a row and lose?
Yep.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Good. Maybe you want to lose a few 40-point games so you don't turn out like him.
He beat cancer like 32 times though.
No, that's good. I like that. That's
Tom
That's good
Brady was
stuff.
also on that list.
never heard of him.
He's won a couple.
Never heard of him. He plays for who?
It's
Carolina.
a different league.
Brady's still in the league.
Different league now.
Let's move on. Talked about the Chiefs enough. We'll never talk about them again.
The fact that you can score 40 points and lose twice is shocking to me.
No, you're right. But
No, I don't know. I don't want to hear it anymore. Moving on.
all right, this next part, this was all Matt, so I want you to all right, take your time.
Me.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to adjust the Stamp or Shred segment a little bit. Just touch on basketball for a second. There's a lot of things happening in the league right now that maybe people aren't paying so much attention to. So we've got a list of teams here that the jury's still out on if they're legit teams or not. So we're just gonna touch on those. We'll Stamp or Shred individual basketball teams. Start it off, and again, at the end of the day, we're not crazy here to think that any of these teams will actually win a championship, with Golden State ruining the sport.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna.
It's sort of like just
we're just gonna.
I'm
we
gonna
just
take
wanna
my stack of 5 teams.
Actually,
I'm kidding. But
okay.
I would do
Basically, what we're gonna say, we're just gonna run through it. Are these teams, are they teams to be taken seriously moving forward? Is this, a fluke, the good starts that they're off to, or is this an actual team that's putting something together?
All right.
Fair
Who
enough.
do we got first on the list?
We'll start it with the Los Angeles Clippers. Clippers currently sitting at 4th place in the conference at an 11-6 record. Getting rid of all their superstars, kind of just playing team ball. You got Tobias Harris having a great year. You've got guys like Lou Williams. I don't know. He seems to be a popular guy around our circles. Basically just a lot of guys contributing, getting the job done. Sign me up for some Clipper basketball in the playoffs. I want to see what they have to offer.
I'm just very confused because we said we were talking about NBA teams, and you brought up a JV team.
They're in 4th place in the Western Conference. What that other team in town is doing what exactly?
Stamp.
Where are
I don't
they?
know in what town are they part of any town? They seem like they're just like an afterthought in existence.
The other team in town, the
No,
Lakers?
the Clippers.
No, I mean, well, you're 4th in the Western Conference. You're obviously doing something.
I
right?
might just not know much about them because they've been irrelevant forever.
They've been pretty relevant for a good amount of years now.
Yeah, where'd that get them?
Dude, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin.
Dude, it was their time to win a championship. The Warriors ruined it.
We're talking about this season. What are you talking about?
They're not still on the team?
No.
I wouldn't
You're
know.
being ridiculous.
This is
Wouldn't
news
know.
to me.
All right, I'll say this. Lou Williams is a god. All right, they have him. He was in the Lakers first, though, so he kind of was just, we traded him away.
This has nothing to do with the Lakers.
Oh, it has everything to do with the Lakers.
Talk to me about the Clippers.
Okay, they have they got Lou, they got Tobias, they got Gallinari, right? He's still
Forgot
playing.
about him having
He's
a
a
great year.
Yeah, he's having a good
Gortat.
year. He's probably better than Melo ever was for the Knicks. If you want to talk
Gortat
about that.
averaging 5 points, 5 rebounds a game.
Gortat, big X factor over there. Marcin
Huge.
Gortat.
Yeah.
No, but you got that. They have a trio of players that can score the ball: Harris, Williams, and Gallinari. They
and
play
they'll,
solid defense.
They'll get swept in the first round if they
Well,
make the playoffs.
Well, that remains to be seen. I think they'll be around in the playoffs. They'll maybe
Oh, they'll be like around.
Yeah,
I
they'll
don't
make
know
the
if they'll be
playoffs.
around though.
Somebody-
stamped them
somebody
too?
listen.
Yeah, I stamped the Clippers.
It's a weak looking stamp, but all right.
There are
Our stamp is fucking up here. But yeah, good solid team.
I think the stamp telling you to not stamp that piece of paper that says LA Clippers on it.
What are we talking about? Are we going to talk about a solid team, or do they have a chance at making noise?
They're
in
a
the
respectable
playoffs?
team.
Yeah, they're respectable.
No, they're
What
not.
else is there to say? They're some decent.
Nothing
talent
What are they
talent
missing?
on the team.
What's not good about them? Give us some actual insight instead of just being a Laker fan.
They just don't have the pieces to make any sort of noise at
Okay.
any point in the playoffs.
I'll save you
What
the
st-
embarrassment. Let's move on to the next.
What
team. You have
superstar do
nothing
they
to
have
do.
to win any? They'll get swept.
All right. Well, that remains to be seen. They're the 4th seed in the Western
Almost
Conference
every
right
other
now.
team in the West has one superstar on their team.
I do. I watched a couple Clippers games.
You
I
watched
like-
a couple of Clippers games?
Yeah, I was
What
watching
are you
one with
doing with your
Kornfeld.
life?
That rookie is pretty good. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. He's pretty good. He's got a cool name.
Who?
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
move on. Get out of here.
Dude,
Richard
don't
has no idea
disrespect him
who
with
he
that.
is. So
Dude, he's a top 10 pick. He's a good player.
Yeah.
He's their point
he
guard.
went to Kentucky.
We'll see
All
where
those
we'll see where his career goes in 5 years.
This is just
All right,
ridiculous.
Richard's a Laker fan, by the way.
Yeah.
Didn't say anything.
That's
about
really
the Lakers.
all that we got out of that conversation. You didn't say
I don't
anything
know.
about
Talk about any of these teams?
Were we talking about a team?
Do you want to talk about
I
any
thought-
of these teams?
Okay.
Do you?
Yeah, no, I do.
Right.
There's actually some pretty good
Kick
teams
Which
out
one
here.
can we talk
Kick
about?
us
that
off
you
with
like?
it.
Weird,
next.
weird that you would start it off with a team that doesn't exist. But okay.
Take a look at the standings. They're doing pretty well.
Never heard of those. What are we, 15, 16
Ridiculous.
games into the season? I don't know. Those are words out of your mouth.
I didn't say that. That's just a fact.
All right. Here, who we got next? The Memphis Grizzlies?
Yeah, no, they don't have Ingram, right?
No, they
It's
don't.
tough.
So,
You
What are you
you're
gonna say
you're
about the
taking the
Grizzlies?
fun
The
out of this,
same-
Richard?
What am I
really,
taking out?
really being a bummer here, dude?
all right, the Grizzlies have Mike Conley, and is Marc Gasol even on the team anymore? Does he play?
Do you watch the sport?
Yeah, I do. But what are these?
No, he watches the fucking. When we're out at the bar, he has the Lakers up on his phone, and we're all like dancing, trying to have a good time, and Richard's watching the Lakers, and Kornfeld's over his shoulder. Like,
How many minutes
Yo,
of
fucking
NBA basketball
Ingram.
has Masados watched this season?
I'm not gonna act like I know
Seems to be
anything about
holding
it.
his
I don't know
own
shit
talking
about
about
these
the league.
teams.
Yeah. All right. What do you
I
got?
don't know anything. Yeah, I'll stamp the Clippers. Sure, they're good.
What do you have?
The Grizzlies.
What do you have to say about
Grizzlies.
Memphis?
Stamp the Grizzlies. I'm stabbing the
They're
Memphis Grizzlies.
great perimeter
Somebody's got to do the
defense on-
fucking job around here. You know, Jaren Jackson. You know who that is?
The Grizzlies need
Yeah, I
a
do know who
rebrand.
Jaren Jackson.
This is a trash brand. Come on. You could do better. This is a Grizzly.
The thing I'll say about the Grizzlies, second place in the Western Conference. You're not in on the Grizzlies? No. Okay. I'll well, why don't you shredding that too?
I don't know yet.
Okay, let me spit some
Okay,
knowledge
you
to
go
you.
first.
Memphis Grizzlies, right? Past 5-6 years, they've been a good team. They've prided themselves on their defense. Always hung around the middle of the pack in the Western Conference. A lot of people would say that was over after last season with
How many years ago did they sweep the Spurs?
a long time. That was like
That was a
7.
while ago,
Yeah,
right?
They're
yeah.
beating the Spurs.
That was
right
kind of
now.
their coming out party. Then they became good right after that. Like nobody really.
They were like a 4 or 5 team in the West, right?
Right, yeah. So they've been around for a while. Again, the defense has always been their hallmark. But with the way that they played last season, they got like a top 5 pick. They kind of just were terrible all season. So a lot of people were like, all right, it's rebuild time. They're done. What I'll say is Mike Conley not being there for the whole season really set them back. Him back healthy now.
Good player.
Good player, averaging 20 points a game. Gasol still doing his thing. He's just reliable. He's just consistent. The addition of Jaren Jackson is what makes me want to stamp this. He's arguably the best rookie so far this season, aside from maybe if you want to say Trae Young. But
What about Doncic?
yeah, Doncic too. You're right. There's a bunch of good rookies that are producing for their teams. But I really like Jaren Jackson. I think he's perfect. He's a perfect complement for Gasol to kind of ease some pressure off of him down low. But I like the Grizzlies. They look like a playoff team. They look like they can, turn some heads this year.
I mean, looking at the roster, they're essentially almost the same team. Besides Jaren Jackson, they're almost the same team that they were when they were kind of making noise in the West, and they still weren't really able to do anything. I don't think a rookie is going to put them over the edge, and they also have Chandler Parsons on the roster, so that's an automatic shred. Because that guy stole money from every team he signed with.
He's played 3 games this season,
He is horrible.
so he's a non-factor.
Yeah,
He's
you
not
should
good.
not be on an NBA team.
He
lot of
basically
rookies-
isn't.
A lot of rookies hit that rookie wall. It's very, very common. They're not used to the 82 game season, and halfway through they tend to slow down. And I don't see any reason why Jaren Jackson would be anything different. I mean, I don't know much about the guy, but yeah, I think Richard's right. You can't be relying on a rookie in the playoffs.
No. They're not reliant on the rookie. He's not their go-to player. They have veterans like Conley and Gasol.
What have they done in the playoffs?
Well, they upset the Spurs. They upset the 1-seed Spurs.
That was 7 years
Okay.
ago.
All right. So they've had trouble staying healthy. When they're on the court together, there's no doubt that they're a good 1-2 punch. The addition of some youth in there with Jackson and getting, like I said, some weight off of Gasol's shoulders. Jackson's a defender too. He's perfect for the Grizzlies. Like, they really got a good pick there. So I'm interested to see how his season plays out. But by no means is he their go-to guy. He's just a great addition to have to a team that really shouldn't have been a top 5 pick. To get a guy like that.
Oh, you're right about that.
All right, we'll move on to the next team. Denver Nuggets. All right, let me talk about the Denver Nuggets for a second. This team started 9-1 this year, and everyone's thinking they're a real threat in the West and that they're a great team. What are they now? 10-7.
Where is this attitude coming from?
Because
So
Because
much
anybody that's
salt
not the
coming around
Lakers.
here.
because Jamal Murray is a bitch.
Richard, who are you gonna stamp here? Which teams? Any of them?
Maybe we'll get to them and we'll see. The team started 9-1. Now they're like 10-7. They don't. Jokic is a great player, but they by no means have the firepower to go make any sort of noise.
That's wrong. All they have is firepower. They have 6 players on the team that can score at anywhere on the court. Dude, and they have a balanced roster with a superstar, Jokic, who can go off for 30 any game. This is one of the most complete rosters in the NBA.
I think he's a star. I don't think he's a superstar that can carry them over the top. I just don't think
I'm seeing he's averaging close to a triple-double.
he's a great player. I don't think he's the type of player where you can give him the ball in the end of a game or give him the ball in the fourth quarter when it's tight and really make a play for your team. Really,
It's tough for a big man to do.
it is.
they
It's
have
very
Jamal
tough.
Murray for late game shooting.
He's a young player. I don't think he's a good player. He's decent. They're a very well balanced young team. They don't have a guy to really put them over the edge.
I think they have multiple options. They have
Will
4 guys averaging 17
every
points.
team where you talk about they have multiple options, it never ends up working out. You need the guy. You need a guy,
Jamal Murray is their guy.
but he's not good enough, especially in the West.
Dude, they have one of the youngest and most loaded rosters in the league. 17 players averaging 4 points a game. If there's
Averaging
any
4
team,
points a game.
what did I say?
17. Do you mean
There's
four
not- there's
players?
not
Four
averaging
players-
17
players.
4 players averaging
17
points.
players on a 15-man roster averaging.
You're also
4.
lying
I'm stamping everyone.
because Will Barton averages 16.5.
4 players averaging 16 or more points per game. And
You know what?
Paul Millsap, not to mention Paul Millsap, who's still,
Is Trey Lyles your 6th guy that can score from anywhere on the court?
what?
Gary
You said they have
Harris.
6 guys
Gary
who can
Harris,
score from
Jamal
anywhere
Murray,
on the court.
Jokic, Millsap.
Trey Lyles?
It's up there for the best starting 5s in the league.
They're a balanced roster. They don't have a superstar.
They have Jokic, who's great.
He's great.
He
He's
can score
not
30
putting-
points
He's not
every time he's on
not
the floor.
Stamp him. 'Cause fuck Richard.
I think this is going to be the team out of all of these teams on the list that's going to cause problems for teams in the playoffs.
I was close to just for the sake of not shredding everyone. I was close to giving him a little stamp, and then
you
said
really
that.
sounded like you were stamping
No,
them.
I thought maybe they could.
Not
be-
to mention Michael Porter Jr. hasn't played yet. That's just going to be a late
Oh,
season
yeah.
addition.
He's gonna come in and light the world up.
So no rookie matters to you.
Not in the West.
Besides
Tells you a lot.
Besides who?
besides Mo Wagner,
He hasn't played a single minute for
but
the
he
Lakers.
matters to you.
No, he doesn't.
You probably think he's the next.
He won't play the entire season.
You think
Porter
he's good, though?
Jr.'s
We're not
good,
talking about
man.
the Lakers. Porter
Porter
Jr. is
Jr.
good.
is good.
Yeah, he hasn't played a minute in the NBA. He's great.
Should we talk about
I
the
said he's
Lakers
good.
G League team?
Might
that
as
in-
well
does
with
that
the
interest
with the
you,
last
Richard?
3 teams we have on this. I don't even think we should do them.
I don't think you should do them.
Shred them all. Be a man.
Want me to?
All right, the Bucks. Why don't you kick off Milwaukee, Mr. Greek man?
Oh, they're the best team in the league. Yeah, I don't know. I think the Bucks are good. They started off really hot. I think they have the highest win differential in the East.
What does that mean?
Average win differential.
Oh, like points per game?
Average differential between them and the opposing team.
Like points, though. You're saying just win differential. I thought you were talking
Yeah,
like
it's
best
obviously
record.
points. What
I
else
just
do you
asked,
win
I
with?
just
Rebounds?
asked. I didn't know. Like,
They have the
The
superstar.
hostility in this room is ridiculous right now.
Yeah, maybe we need to loosen up a little.
Your number two guy is Chris Middleton. I'm sorry. With the teams in the Eastern Conference, the Bucks are going to be a
Yeah.
tune-up for the actual contenders.
And okay, I think they're a good team. They have the superstar. I think they will run into some problems if the game's close late in the game because Giannis can't shoot. But yeah, he's good enough. He's outstanding.
He's good enough.
Can you relax?
I'm just surprised.
He has. I was looking at a stat today, and he leads the league in unassisted dunks with 35, and the second place player of unassisted dunks has 11. So that's just a testament to how easily
Who's
he
the second
can.
place? Is it Ben Simmons?
I don't know who it was, but that's just a
I heard it
testament to
was,
how
Mo
easily
Wagner.
he can get to the rim. And if he gets hot in a playoff series against say Philadelphia, I think the Bucks could put him out of business.
All right.
I put a stamp on them while Alex was speaking because this team has a superstar. He may not be able to shoot, but he's a superstar. He can score almost at will at this point. And I mean, they went to 7 games last year in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
They were close, and I think he's even better this year. I think the team's better. They got Lopez.
They couldn't beat the depleted Celtics. They should have
Neither
dominated
could the
that series.
76ers or
Okay,
the
so
anyone
the
but the
Celtics
Cavs.
look worse now with those players back.
They'll be fine.
the Bucks.
stamping
If the
them.
Bucks were as
And they're
good as
playing
they
very
should
well
be,
right now.
they should have beaten the Celtics last year. That was disappointing. We talked
Yeah.
about that a lot. How the Bucks should have had their way with that Celtics team. You guys didn't agree with me, but with Giannis's skills, they should have. That's an easy. If you want to establish yourself as a real team in the Eastern Conference, you have to win that series.
Yeah, he's a year older now.
Yeah, we'll see. All right.
All right. Could we just group shred the Pacers?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I'm not gonna.
We had some.
I don't think they're that
here.
bad, but
Oladipo is very overrated.
I think he's overrated.
I don't want to hear anything about Oladipo.
Yeah, it's already shredded.
Oh, he can sing.
I thought that was. Oh no, that is him. That can
Yeah,
sing.
he's a singer. All right,
Last
last
team.
team.
Portland Sweet Blazers, or should I say Swept Blazers?
That's funny.
What can what more can we say about the Trailblazers? I mean, every year they have McCollum, they have Lillard, and they don't do anything.
This is the front office's fault. Same team year after
Yeah,
year after
I-
year. It's pathetic. They're the Wizards of the East. They are
Yeah.
not good.
They don't have the issues that the Wizards have. They play better basketball, and I think they're more
Yeah.
tight as a
They're
squad.
clearly a better team than
Yeah,
the Wizards.
but
They're
like it's the
point guard-
disappointing
the
factor.
guard duo having the same roster year after year, not making that big addition, that can easily put them over the top. Like they didn't want to take a shot on Cousins.
Yeah, they're like, yo, Nurkic,
Yeah,
the guy.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so
It's a team that will just sit in mediocrity until one of their stars leaves.
yep, they should probably trade Lillard for maybe Svi.
What do you think here, Alex? You shredded it already?
Yeah, I shredded it.
All right, so there you have it.
Multiple shreds.
It's our stamper shred.
Win
Yeah.
a playoff
Got a little
series.
fiery.
Yeah, that took a
little bit.
while. We're gonna move on to one of my favorites that we've only done once in our lives, the scrap heap.
So are we done with this? Or
Yeah, we're done with the shredder. It did very well for us today. Thank you. We might use the
Idiots
shredder
of the
as,
week.
we might use the shredder as a fill-in for Matt because it's just getting to that point. Idiots of the week.
Guys just throwing haymakers all over the place.
Who wants to go first?
Why don't you go first?
Am I going first again? I
Just
went
get
first.
the anger out.
I went-
You're on a roll right now. I don't want to stop.
I went first last. I went first
Yeah, I
last
want-
week.
They,
with
nobody remembers.
Mr. Todd
Keep
Bowles.
that same energy.
This man.
Oh wait, that's the wrong photo. I want you to get this photo.
Oh, I was wondering what happened with the printer. Something messed up.
No, that was my mistake.
This man right here, Mr. Kevin Durant. So we all know what happened. There was an issue. Draymond brings the ball up, turns it over, doesn't give it to Durant. There's a whole argument. Now there's this whole divide in the Warriors, whatever. Steph's out. You have Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and Draymond Green. And this team can't win a game. They've lost 3 in a row. All of a sudden, Kevin Durant can't take over a game, get his team a win. And let me read something this man said. Let me just pull it up right here. Where'd it go? Sorry. Kevin Durant, in quotes. Grown men can't come to a game and heckle grown men. That's corny and that's weak. You're soft, you weak, you a bitch. You're going to sleep as a grown man doing that to another person. This is the same guy who got caught writing responses to his own tweets. This is the same guy who's gone at many fans and teenagers on Twitter.
He tells people to kill themselves.
Trying to defend himself and going at them. And
yes, he tweeted at a fan.
Who do you think you are? Telling someone else to you weak, you a bitch. You're weak. He's weak. We've had arguments before. Whose team is this? Is this Steph's team, or now that Kevin Durant, one of the best players, probably second best player in the world, came over? Whose team is this? Is this Durant or is this Steph? It's clearly Steph's team. This guy clearly wants no part in being the leader of any team. That's why next season he's going to go join the best player in the world, Mr. LeBron James, so his life is even easier.
LeBron James is going to the Knicks?
Yeah. That's why he's gonna go take another easy route next year, because this guy is probably the most mentally weak star in all of sports. He just can't handle any criticism. He can't handle any adversity within his own team. He was the main guy on the Thunder, obviously. They go up 3-1 against the Warriors. They blow that. He goes and joins them. Now they're starting to have some problems in Golden State. They can't win a game. It'll probably turn around for them because they have every superstar on the planet. But, I mean, what are you doing, man? I mean, and especially I almost didn't do Durant because I know he's gonna come out and have some great games. But after saying something like that, you're gonna call someone else weak and you're a bitch. Like, look at what you've done. Look what you've done your entire.
You got self-awareness.
No self-awareness. What do you?
That's whack. That's
whack. What do I hold? This isn't even going in the. We have a little box. We're gonna throw all our scraps in. This one's not going in it. This one is going in it. The snake, Kevin Durant. You know he's gonna be a Laker next year. I'll love him. But man, you just can't win with two other superstars on your team because Steph Curry hurt his groin or something, his ankle, whatever.
Hey, KD, we would love to have you on the podcast. Tell this to your face.
Get out of here. Get out of here. That's what I gotta say about Mr. Durant.
Pretty much agree with everything you said. Fuck Kevin Durant. Shout out to Lil B. You know that is Fuck Kevin Durant song?
Oh, yeah.
That's classic.
Lil B's hilarious. I'll take the next one. All right, this one's tough for me because I'm a big fan of this guy. But it seems as though year after year they need a big game from him, and he just doesn't show up. And I'm sorry to do this, Matt, but I'm putting Phillip Rivers in my scrap heap.
Be gentle.
I will be gentle because I'm a big fan of this guy. I think he's great, and even though he doesn't have a Super Bowl, I think he should be a Hall of Fame quarterback. But this was the week to do it. You're playing the Broncos. The Chiefs are playing the Rams. This is if they're gonna lose one game for the rest of the year, it's this one. This was your chance to tie up the division, and you blew it. You throw two bad interceptions. You pretty much cost the game with that late spike, stopping the clock, giving the Broncos a chance to come back. And this one falls on you, Phillip. And it just seems like every year this happens with the Chargers. It's late in the season. They have a chance at the playoffs, and they mess it up somehow. And I don't know. I mentioned earlier in this podcast that maybe the Chargers could give them the Chiefs some trouble if they happen to meet up in the playoffs. But come on, you got to play better than that. You're a veteran quarterback. You're a potential future Hall of Fame quarterback. You're having a lot of people think if it weren't for players like Breeze, players like Mahomes, you might be in that MVP conversation. And you come in. What was the game in Denver or was it in San Diego?
It was home.
I mean, San Diego. Wow. The game was in L.A. and you cost your team the game. And come on, like we expect better of you Philip. So yeah, scrap heap him.
That's Durant's fault too.
It really hurts to listen to that, but I can't disagree with you.
That was bad.
Rivers really, I don't know what he was thinking on that play right there.
A guy in the league that long, he's the last person you expect to make that mistake.
And
The game was won if he doesn't do that.
Yeah, take the sack, man. Just take the sack.
Just slide.
Just go down. Don't let them hit you. You can't throw the ball on the ground.
Because even if they let up that 40-yard play to Sanders, whatever it was, like there's not enough time for them.
No timeouts.
Exactly. They would have wasted that last timeout, right? Or they had no timeouts at the time. Wow.
It was bad.
Yeah, they're a
Anyway,
threat.
moving on. Final scrap heap of the week goes to the luckiest man in the world, that he's able to be employed for as long as he has been, thanks to Aaron Rodgers. I'm scrap heaping Mike McCarthy, whose days are numbered in Green Bay. This guy, man, we talk a lot about how Rodgers is getting screwed over and over again. And this guy is one of the biggest. He's one of the biggest reasons why. Let me just take you through the story of what happened at the end of this game. You got 4th and 2 with down by 3, 4 minutes and 20 seconds left, one timeout. You can either trust Aaron Rodgers or you can trust the Green Bay Packers defense. Seems like a pretty easy call, right? Just, Rodgers can probably get 2 yards, or you can punt back to the Seahawks, who have been carving you up in the second half, going back and forth up and down the field. He decides to punt the ball. Another week of Rodgers not getting a chance at the end of the game to make something happen and get the win. It's pathetic that this guy has lasted as long as he has, and it's been because of Rodgers, the same guy that he's screwing over week after week. This is a 4-6 football team with the best quarterback in the world. It's completely unacceptable. And he's going to pay the price for it. There's no shot they bring him back next year. Time and time again, he blows it in the worst moments. He doesn't challenge a clear drop by Tyler Lockett because he only has one timeout left because he blew his timeouts early in the second half. And just poor clock management, poor timeout management. You have to challenge that play. Everyone in the building knew that it wasn't a catch. He lets the challenge go. They end up scoring a touchdown. There goes the lead. They never see it back. Why? Because they punt the ball back to Seattle. Let Seattle get some first downs. They bun the clock out. No more timeouts left. They're done. They don't see the ball again. Rodgers sees another 3-point loss squandered with him on the sideline, not getting a chance to win the game. It's time for McCarthy to go. They need to save the rest of Rodgers' career while they still can. You're out of here, McCarthy.
Facts.
All right, so we're going to move on to our next segment. We're going to finish it off with the picks. We'll do those really quickly. And the first game is, keep forgetting, sorry.
Seahawks, Panthers.
I was going to say Packers, but I was like, they just played. Seahawks, Panthers. I'll start it off with this game. I'm going to take the Panthers. I know they just lost this past week instead of going overtime, they went for 2. They went for the big win. And they didn't get it done, but I still think the Panthers are a good team. I still think they have a pretty good defense. They have a pretty good offense. Like, they're balanced on both sides of the ball. The Seahawks, they're not as bad as everyone thought they were going to be, but they're still they only have Wilson. Like, they're just not a great team overall. And I like the Panthers this year despite some bad losses. I'm going to take the Panthers over the Seahawks. I think they're a better team.
I think I'm going to take the Seahawks in this one. They've been playing well as of late. That running game is really getting going. I know you said they only have Wilson, but I'm pretty sure they're one of the top rushing teams in the league.
Number one.
Number
Just
one in the
because of
league.
him.
By 20 yards over the second place team.
Yeah, so they're rolling on that side of the ball and in that facet of the game. And we all know Pete Carroll knows how to coach. I'm not so sure about Ron Rivera on the other side.
Riverboat Ron?
Whatever.
I don't even know what that means.
Where is this game?
Pretty sure it's something about him being
This
an
game's in
aggressive
Carolina?
coach.
It's in Carolina, yeah. Is it?
I don't think that
Something
matters.
like that.
Riverboat. Well, they went for 2 at the game.
In Carolina makes it interesting, but I don't know. The Panthers' defense looks very suspect as of late. I think that rushing game is very good. They're going to run all over them, and the Panthers will lose their 3rd straight game.
All right.
I'm with Alex. I like the Seahawks this week. Basically, the biggest thing is that run game. They have options. Right? They have 3 different backs contributing as well as Wilson running the ball. I think that will cause problems for the Panthers. Going to be a close game. It could probably go either way. I just think Seattle they play tight with every team they play against. They're always in the game. Wilson has shown in the past that he can get it done, aside from a pick in the red zone in the Super Bowl, but which might be a pretty big blemish. But I don't know if I'm going to blame him for that. So I think I trust Wilson late in games.
Should have given it to Lynch.
And
To win a close game. Give me Seattle.
I was correct. He's called Riverboat Ron because he takes a gamble. I don't know what Riverboat has to do with it, but
I think that is something to do with like casinos and gambling and stuff.
River boat.
I'm reading this article
Boat
is
on the
from
river.
this article is from 2014. It was when they started 1-3 and they went for it on 4th down twice, and then they called him. I don't know. Whatever. Move on.
Fucking.
Next game, Vikings Packers.
Ooh.
The Vikings, man, they're just disappointing this year, and I think they were destined for it when they signed Cousins, and they were 12-4 last year. It was sort of it was like out of nowhere kind of thing, and I think adding Cousins added all this extra hype, and they're really underperforming. And I'm gonna go with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. I'm gonna take. I've usually picked against the Packers this year because I don't think they're that great of a team, but I don't know. The Vikings they've lost me. I just don't, especially since I've been shitting on the Bears and they lost to freaking Bears. Yeah, so I'm gonna take the Packers.
I
on
agree
that
with
one.
you. I'm definitely, I'm losing more and more faith in the Vikings every week. Just disappointing performances week after week. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what their problem is. Honestly.
Offensive line.
It's the line primarily.
God awful.
Yeah, I know. I saw like Dalvin Cook against Chicago had like 12 carries for like 18 yards or something stupid.
The line is the root of all problems.
It really
for
is.
Any team.
You know, and if you can't get anything going on offense, you're not going to be able to win. And we know on the other side of the ball, Rodgers, they'll probably maintain possession for this game. Like, just keep it out of their hands. Make sure that they're in control of the game. It's in Minnesota, but again, that's a dome stadium. Should be pretty easy for Rodgers to score without weather factoring in. But I'm going to go with Green Bay. I'm almost done with the Vikings.
In one of our earlier podcasts, I did say that the Vikings were overrated, and I think so mostly because of their O-line. It's terrible, and it makes everybody else on the offense look much worse, including Cousins. Thielen and Diggs are both having amazing seasons, but that running game hasn't gotten going at all, unless Latavius Murray had a couple of good games. But especially if the Bears win on Thursday, which I think they will, even though Trubisky may not play, this turns into a must-win game for the Vikings, and you could say the same for the Packers.
Yeah, I was about to say Packers season's probably on the line here.
Yeah, but not as much. But it is a must-win game for the Vikings if the Bears win.
That's true.
And I think the Vikings are just a better team than the Packers. I think they're better coached, as Matt got into with that Mike McCarthy's scrap heap. Zimmer and DeFilippo, I think, are two pretty good coaches that they're hamstrung by a terrible offensive line and terrible personnel on that offensive line. Packers defense isn't that great. I don't think they have an outstanding pass rush, so I don't think they'll be able to take advantage of that.
Did you know they traded HaHa Clinton Dix?
I did know that. And I think the Vikings are going to win this game.
All right, 2 Packers, 1 Viking, and the last game. I think this is really the game of the week. Jaguars Bills. No, no, we're doing the Monday Night Football game. Titans Texans. I think that's an easy one for me, and I'll continue to pick against the Titans no matter who they beat. I'm gonna pick the Texans. It's a division matchup, right? Right, they're in the same division. I don't know anything about football.
It's for first place.
It's for first place in the division.
Oh no, it's not. That was a lie.
It's not for. Oh no, the Texans.
Two games apart.
Look, you spitting
7-3,
false knowledge to
5-5.
me? Not even close. I mean, I guess I should know that, but no, I'm gonna take the Texans. They're better at. I think almost every position on the field. Why is this Monday Night Football? What do they think when they make
This
these
is not a bad game. This is not a bad game.
What do they? No one wants to see Texans Titans.
Yeah, everybody wants to see 54-51, right?
I mean, look, I understand when they make the schedule, there's teams in mind they think will be good, bad, like this and that. When they're trying to think of prime time,
you could do worse.
This is
than
what
this
they
game.
they should. I think they should be way more lenient with the rescheduling of games. I think it should happen way more often.
You could do worse with
When
this
you're
game.
late in the season
I
like
think
this,
it's fine. It's a divisional matchup. They're separated by 2
throw
points.
it in the 4 o'clock slot.
What do you want? You want to see 49ers Buccaneers?
We've
you
talked.
want that?
I mean, we're picking it as a game of the week, so there aren't many better options.
Oh yeah,
What would you like to see in prime time?
Oh, we want to see Giants Eagles.
Browns Bengals,
Okay, you would have been just as mad.
Jets
Whatever.
Patriots.
It's besides the point. You're taking the Texans.
Yeah, I'm taking the Texans.
Okay, I'm taking the Texans too. I'm
How
I'm
are you?
so done with the Titans, dude. Year after year, what is this team? They beat the
They're
Pats.
annoying, is what they
They're
are.
so frustrating because they're not even good. They'll just do some dumb shit once every few weeks that makes you think they're good, and then they just prove to you the week after that they're the same old mediocre, disappointing team every single year. It was 38-3 against the Colts the week after
Yeah,
they
they
come off a
got
high of beating the
absolutely
Pats.
demolished.
Are you kidding me?
But-
Have some respect for yourself. These Titans that
And you know
and
that's
Mariota is Mariota even playing? I don't know. He's
know.
got a new injury every week. I can't keep up with this guy. Give me the Texans. They're red hot. He is playing. I've been told by our producers, but at the end of the
Is
day,
he playing?
Houston is just well ahead of them right now. And fuck the Titans, man.
I'm taking the Titans.
This fucking guy.
It's a fucking pattern. You know, they play terrible one week, they play great the next week. This is their due for one, and the Texans are gonna lose one game.
No. Might as well be undefeated.
Give me the Titans.
All right, and I'm catching you guys off guard. I'm adding this myself. This was not discussed beforehand. Matt, you got Giants Eagles. Who you picking?
I was gonna say we should do that one. So
I'm
glad you
giving
said
all
that.
of us a random game, and
Oh,
we gotta.
well, I'm glad I'm picked now. I'm gonna take the Giants.
Okay, you got the Giants.
Yeah, I think that these are two teams trending in opposite directions. I'm said it week after week that Philly is not the team that we think they are, or people think they are, and I think the Giants. We won't get so carried away as to say they're making a playoff push, but I believe that the dream will stay alive 1 week longer. We got a nice win over the Eagles, and
We.
kinda-
Now we're we.
did I say we?
He said we.
Wow, that's bad.
Ah.
Truth comes out.
Matt's got the Giants. We're all gonna do separate
the
games.
Giants.
We're trying to make the odds worse here for all of us. Because we. All right. Let me just touch on this real quick. We were gonna do a punishment, whatever, for our record with the predictions.
Repercussions.
Repercussion. I can't even say the word. Apparently, we all tied. we all tied. We all tied, and it was not. There was nothing we could do. So we're trying to add this. We're all gonna pick a random game.
A wild
just to,
card.
Yeah, a wild card, just to hopefully it doesn't end up in a tie again. Alex, you got game of the year. 49ers Bucks, baby.
Woo!
Winston back under center.
Oh yeah.
Give me the Bucks. 49ers suck.
Nick Mullins.
And I'm gonna
Had
go
enough
with
of that guy already.
I'm gonna go
2
with
games in.
I'm gonna do the
Go back to
Browns.
the practice squad.
I'm gonna do the Browns and the
Where you
Bengals, and I'm gonna pick the Cleveland Browns and Baker Mayfield to beat who I thought were the Super Bowl favorites going into the season, the Cincinnati Bengals. That's my pick. So
He's joking, by the way.
joking. All right, so we had
We've got a rogue producer over here.
let's just
You gonna take the Bengals?
I don't even know what they are.
let's just to recap really quick. We had Packers Vikings. Me and Matt took the Packers. Alex took the Vikings. We had
It's nice to start off 1-0, right, Rich?
yeah, it really is. We had the Texans Titans. Me and Matt had the Texans. Alex had the Titans.
This kid can't remember Seahawks Panthers for the life of him.
We had Seahawks Panthers. I had the Panthers, and you both had the Seahawks.
Yes.
And I have the Browns. You have the Giants, and I don't care about Alex after the comment he just made. You have the Bucks.
Hopefully, we will get a loser this week.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember what game I picked 30 seconds ago.
Look, I have a lot of stuff going on. Let me just go on a little No, we're going to end it there.
It's weird that I went 3-0 on the Thursday games and the Thanksgiving games. If you guys remember that, I picked those.
Oh, yeah.
Knew them all. I won't release them now, but I
Yeah,
knew them.
no, he's not going to say it. All right, so we're going to end it there. Let me just say this was, for all of us, getting this episode done was very stressful. There was a lot of technical difficulties, a lot of, the day before Thanksgiving, stuff happens. But, we're still getting this episode out. We're still getting it done, and you're all going to see it. We hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll never talk about JV basketball teams again, like Matt was just showing. He was holding that up for me because he knew I was going to say that. No, thank you for tuning in.
Were you going to say that?
No, I saw you picking up the Clippers thing, and I saw an
Is
opportunity.
every team we talked about ahead of the Lakers in the standings?
No.
That's a fact. Fun fact.
No,
Oh,
we're
that's-
ending the
that's
episode,
weird.
so it doesn't matter.
Better than DeMar DeRozan.
Yes. Thank you for
Are you
tuning
okay?
in.
Are you okay after having your mic on the air?
Alex doesn't want to end the episode. Thank you for tuning in.
You know what?
Thank you for tuning in. I'll say it a fifth time. Thank you for tuning in. If you got this far to the end, please give us a little subscribe on YouTube or subscribe to us on iTunes or Spotify and share it, whatever you want to do.
I printed out a few teams that we didn't get to yet.
Yeah, we actually have a whole another hour going on. Thank you. It's over. Goodbye. Happy Thanksgiving.